In our journey to understand the intricate political and financial dynamics of Ethiopia, it's crucial to set the stage with the economic crisis that's currently unfolding. Ethiopia, the most populous country in East Africa, is grappling with a tough decision that could dictate its economic future. The country is teetering on the brink of a significant currency devaluation, a decision that could be the key to securing a rescue loan from the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. Having defaulted on its debt in December, Ethiopia is the third African country in as many years to find itself in this precarious situation. The country has not received any IMF funds since 2020, with its last lending arrangement going off track in 2021. To make matters more complicated, the federal government and a rebellious regional authority only recently settled a 2-year civil war in late 2022. Adding to the country's economic woes, Ethiopia has requested a staggering $3.5 billion in support from the IMF. However, the IMF's support often comes with a preference for flexible, market-determined exchange rates, putting Ethiopia's tightly controlled exchange rate under scrutiny. The country's economic landscape is further complicated by chronic foreign currency shortages, which have allowed a black market to flourish. In this scene, we'll delve into the intricate details of Ethiopia's economic crisis and explore how this situation has evolved over time. We'll also examine the potential implications of a currency devaluation and the challenges Ethiopia faces in securing a bailout from the IMF. Stay tuned as we navigate this complex crisis and shed light on Ethiopia's financial future. Our journey through Ethiopia's economic crisis begins with the country's central bank, which has kept the birr, Ethiopia's currency, tightly controlled for years. This has led to a flourishing black market for foreign currency, with the unofficial exchange rate significantly higher than the official one. The IMF has long encouraged Ethiopia to liberalize its exchange rate, arguing that it would attract foreign investment and boost exports. However, such a move could also lead to inflation and increase the cost of living for everyday Ethiopians. As we analyze this issue, we come across the potential implications of a currency devaluation. A weaker birr could make Ethiopian exports more competitive, potentially boosting the country's foreign exchange earnings. At the same time, it could also make imports more expensive, which could push up inflation and hurt those living on the economic margin. Securing a bailout from the IMF is another challenge Ethiopia faces. The IMF's support often comes with conditions such as fiscal austerity measures and structural reforms, which can be politically difficult to implement. For instance, when Ghana received an IMF bailout in 2015, it had to implement a series of painful reforms, including reducing public sector wages and cutting subsidies. While these measures helped stabilize the economy, they also led to public protests and political backlash. In Ethiopia's case, the IMF's preference for a flexible, market-determined exchange rate could lead to similar outcomes. The federal government, still recovering from a 2-year civil war, could find it challenging to implement such reforms in a country where many rely on government subsidies and public sector employment. Moreover, these economic challenges are intertwined with other aspects of Ethiopia's current situation. The country's economic future hinges on the decisions it makes today, as well as the support it receives from international institutions like the IMF. As we conclude, the economic crisis in Ethiopia has far-reaching impacts, extending beyond the realm of finance. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about the lives of everyday Ethiopians. The ripple effects of the currency devaluation can be felt in the everyday life of Ethiopians. A weaker birr means that imports become more expensive. This pushes up the cost of living, affecting everything from the price of food to the cost of essential services. For those living on the economic margins, these price increases can be devastating, pushing them further into poverty. Furthermore, the economic challenges are not isolated from the political landscape. The potential implementation of IMF's conditions, such as fiscal austerity measures and structural reforms, which can be politically difficult to implement, can lead to public protests and political backlash. This requires a careful balancing act for the federal government led by Abiy Ahmed, which is still recovering from a 2-year civil war, and where many rely on government subsidies and public sector employment. These challenges and strict IMF requirements makes it increasingly clear that the path to economic stability in Ethiopia is not straightforward. It requires a careful balancing act, taking into account not just economic factors, but also social and political realities. That's all for now. Thank you for joining us. Before we sign off, we want to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful news updates like this video, if you found it informative, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement and feedback are invaluable to us. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.